Hey guys, it's Yorkie here, and today I'm bringing you some Assetto Corsa gameplay. Yeah, it's a little bit different from the project cars that I've been doing recently, but a number of people have been telling me to check it out and kind of asking me to compare the two. I'm not going to compare the two just yet, because I've done over 150 hours in project cars and about a total of 5 hours in Assetto Corsa, and it'll be a little bit unfair to compare the two, having not played them quite as much as each other. However, I will touch on a few little things here and there and kind of semi-compare the games. Oh god, this is going to be difficult. Either way, multiplayer race. I didn't really get a qualifying lap in as I joined quite late in the qualifying session, so I'm starting from the back of the grid. We're at the Nürburgring, we're waiting for those 5 lights. They're building up now. Waiting, holding the revs, 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 holding the revs. Letting it drop, get a fairly decent launch from the line. That's a Park Z4. There's a little bit of contact right in front of me, and this has gone horribly wrong. Jesus, getting punted all over the place. Oh my god, it's still going. Right, go towards turn 1. Let's do this. Where am I? I'm P11 after all that. I started down in P17 and I'm out to P11. Okay, dropped down to P12 after all that contact there. So that was a little bit crazy. I wasn't entirely too sure what went on. I saw the McLaren and I'm not sure what the other car was that was ahead of me make contact and spin in front of me, and as they rejoined, it bumped into me. I bumped into the wall. I got bounced around a fair bit by a number of cars, but it looks like there's plenty of contact and spins going up ahead. We're now up into P10, so we are gaining places pretty much all the time. If you haven't guessed already, we're in a McLaren MP4 12-seat GT3 car, a car that does feature in project cars, so this is kind of a nice... It gave me a good starting point to go from in this game. I haven't actually played this game too much. Like I said, I've done a total of 5 hours. At this point, this was probably my 5th, maybe 6th online race. So, yeah, basically just seeing what we could do. We've got a McLaren spinning there in front of us. We've got a Lotus just here in front of us. I'm not too sure what Lotus that is, and then beyond him is another McLaren as well. And obviously, we're trying to work our way back up through the field. From the races that I've done already, I felt fairly quick, just up there in the top 5, so I kind of feel a little bit out of position at the moment, but the car does feel good. It's got plenty of grip. It does bite quite nicely, and the overall handling of the car actually feels really nice as well. It does step out from time to time if you really do push, but most of the time it's quite well planted. As you can see, it's got a higher top speed than this Lotus here, closing up on him, coming down that straight, hooking up that chicane quite nicely, bouncing over the curbs a little bit, trying to take him as aggressively as possible. I'm going to try and get myself a decent run coming out of this final corner and try and get a position or two coming down into turn 1. There's a lot of chaos and mayhem up ahead as we weave our way through the cars rejoining the track. We're up into P7. We're now getting this decent run that I was after. He's gone and defended the inside, which has forced me to the outside, but I can see I've got a car just here managing to move to his right on the braking zone. That Lotus went a little bit deep, so I just slipped up underneath him and gained 2 places in 1 corner. Very nice driving indeed. So now we're in the battle for 4th, 3rd and 2nd place. I'm not entirely sure where 1st is, but you know, this is great stuff to go from P17, 18 on the first lap down into P5 already. And this Z4 is awfully slow coming out of this corner, and I didn't really have anywhere to go other than the out to the left of him, just about managing to squeeze through on the grass and slipping up into 4th place. So now my attention turns to the Z4 up ahead, trying to get a good run coming down towards this long right-handed hairpin down here. But as you can see, the acceleration on that Z4 is a fair bit better than this McLaren. He's actually got a little bit deep, and I've gone even deeper as well. I've actually dipped the wheel onto the gravel, which is going to allow this Z4 to slip up my inside. And the Lotus is kind of having a look there, but not really enough. Just having a quick look with the track IR over onto that side mirror. Make sure he's not coming back up. And this is one of the advantages of the McLaren over the Z4, is that its fast and medium corner grip is actually a lot better. Even though the acceleration of the Z4 is a fair bit better as well. So the different handling characteristics are coming into play quite heavily, and you'll see that over the next couple of laps. As you can see, he's pulling away from me here, coming down towards this chicane, My overall top speed, I believe, is a little bit faster than his, but I never really get there, never really get to the top end of Gear 6. As you can see, all over the back of this Z4, trying to take a wider line and cut back in to try and get a good straight line exit. So struggling a little bit, closing up on him actually quite nicely, and we're now pretty much alongside, so I'm going to make it be moving down into turn 1 here. So we've got a Z4 coming out of the pits there, braking as late as possible. Car squirming under brakes, but managing to get that move quite cleanly done down the inside, just shy of the apex, and very good clean racing by him as well to see that coming and giving me plenty of room. So we're now up to P4, hunting P3 of Biscuits. Z4 up ahead, he's got a horrible line coming through this complex of corners. I've got a very nice line, there's a little bit of contact there coming out through the exit, which has allowed him to retain his position. It was a little bit unfortunate, otherwise I would have quite clearly had P4 there. He was much faster coming out the exit and had a much better line than he did. Bouncing over the curbs on the inside, trying to get hard on the gas on the accelerator coming out through the exit. As we now come down to this run down towards this hairpin once again, you can see him pulling away ever so slightly, closing that up quite nicely in the braking zone there, trying to get as close to him. Getting quite early on the gas, coming through that right-hander. There's one thing I've noticed with these cars in Assetto Corsa, you can get quite heavily on the accelerator coming through the corners. As you can see there, my line is much better than his, just able to carry that speed through without having to lift off the accelerator too much, if at all. That's where I'm closing the gaps. It's through the corners. But as you'll see, coming out through the exit here, going the power on pretty much the same time, but it's just pulling away. I probably could have used third, but as soon as I got on the accelerator, it'll be pretty much max revs and I'd have to shift straight away, so I might as well stay in fourth. Not try and pressure the engine too much, since the chicanes are rather bouncy actually. The car does bounce around a fair bit, but even still it feels pretty planted. It's one of the things that I'm kind of unsure whether I like when compared to project cars. It's the handling. A lot of people say the project Assetto Corsa has one of the best handling, most realistic simulated handling models in any of the games, sim races, and I can kind of see why. I mean, it kind of makes sense for this car to have this much grip. It doesn't feel quite as on the limit as project cars does when driving. He's not had a good run coming up for this corner, so I'm kind of having a look down the inside. Just kind of half covering that, just slotting behind him, and actually making a little bit of contact there as he took that corner a fair bit slower than I was expecting him to. I wasn't expecting him to be on the brakes for that long. A little bit of contact, but managing to recover and not lose too much time. There's a little bit of a gap developing now, as you can see, but I imagine coming through the fast left and then right-hander, we'll close that gap back up quite nicely. As you can see, having a pretty good run through that hairpin. It's one thing that I've learned through project cars and GT racing, or shall I say GT racing and project cars, and watching the likes of Rennie Rast, and that's those kind of guys doing their laps in the real world and also in project cars, because Rennie Rast has been helping with the development of project cars. Long sweeping hairpins like that. You take a slightly different line, you take a much earlier apex, basically from the braking zone. As soon as you start braking, you basically beeline to the inside of a corner straight away. Clip a very early apex, go a little bit deep, not as deep as he's gone way deep, and I've actually managed to gain a position there. I probably could have gave him a little bit more room than that right-handed kink, but I thought I was kind of pretty much past him, and that position of his was gone. There's no way for him to get that back, so gained up into P3 now. So now we've got to do a little bit of catching up to the leaders. P2 is 11 seconds up the road from me, and if I just give it a little bit of time, there we go, 17 seconds is the leader. So time to focus on these two guys and try and close up as much as possible now that I've got some clear air. But yeah, some things I'm actually really enjoying Assetto Corsa. It's a lot of fun to drive, especially these multiplayer lobbies. The multiplayer seems to be a little bit more stable than Project Cars at the moment in its current state, and it just allows for more cars on track. And I'm actually quite liking the way it's set out as well. You get about 15 minutes of qualifying in Assetto Corsa, and then you go straight into a race after that. Whereas in Project Cars, the lobby host basically chooses whether he wants, you know, practice and qualifying sessions on it or not. And you get quite a nice variety of cars as well, and some good drivers in Assetto Corsa 2, as you can see. But yeah, it is a really, really good game. It just, at the moment, it just seems to be lacking the, I guess, the functionality, as I get horribly out of shape there. I dip the wheels onto the grass on the outside, and I've now got a little speed penalty there, which is a little bit weird. That minimum, shall I say, maximum speed that you need to drop down to 30 miles per hour is really, really slow. So you can either drop down to 30 miles per hour, or you can just basically wait it out for 5 seconds. You have the option of the two, depending on the actual speed that you're doing after you recover. Kind of makes you choose which one of the two would be more beneficial to you. As you can see, a little bit frustrated with that. It's completely my own mistake. It's something that I really should not have made, considering the gap that I had behind me. And also, you know, we've got another, well, we've got 4 laps left now. It was a complete waste, throwaway to do something as silly as that. So I'm now having to try and find my way back past this Z4 again. As you saw, a little bit of lag there. He walked behind me and then walked back in front, but I've got a much better line through here than him, as you can see. Knowing he's going to be slow on the apex, having to back out the throttle there, but still managing to duck underneath him, get the undercut done quite nicely, and actually going heavily defensive into this left-hander here, as he did look rather threatening, knowing that the Z4 has better acceleration than the McLaren. I knew that he would be coming and not hooking up that apex on that right-hander at all. Starting to struggle with the tyres a little bit in places. I think that's more just me trying to push the car and not really focusing on my braking and turning points. As you can see, going very, very deep, but cutting it back in. And this is going to get interesting now, as we got traffic right in front of me, and there is no way through here whatsoever. He has no idea I'm right behind him, so I had to back out quite heavily there, and basically I've now got to just basically sit and wait and try and find the right opportunity to get past, which is really, really difficult. And I saw a gap there on the inside and kind of went for it, but at the same time that Z4 went up my inside as well, made contact with my left rear, which put me into a spin. Has now dropped me down into P6, so very, very frustrating traffic. It's something that you kind of get a fair bit in Assetto Corsa, actually, I've noticed. The way you can actually join the game, or so say join a race part of the way through, and you start off in the pits, and you basically just drive to the end of the race. If you manage to gain positions, then fantastic, but it doesn't, you know, put you at the start. So I'm guessing that's what this guy has done, either that or he's really, really struggling, and that has actually cost me obviously some positions there and some fairly good battles. I would have quite liked to have got past that guy and try and close the gap back up to P2. You can see a little bit more warping there. This car is pretty stable on the brakes as well. You can really, really brake hard, and there isn't too much wobble. It kind of sounds like it, and it looks like it ever so slightly as well, but it's nothing too major as I get the rear end stepping out on me on the exit curb there. But we're still managing to keep it quite nicely in check, and that's what I've kind of been enjoying about Assetto Corsa. Driving the car feels very, very planted. With Project Cars, you can feel the tyres being right on the limits of grip a fair bit more, and it's actually kind of harder to manage. They don't feel quite as planted. But obviously I need to go back and give it a real good comparison once again, as this number 20 car is running a little bit wide, number 23 sorry, and he's got him backed out of that, coming side by side down into this fast left and right hander. I I was expecting him to lift off ever so slightly and give him some room on the inside. I did want to go wheel to wheel with him, but he kind of made a fairly smart decision to back out of that. And there's Lotus in front of us has gone and made contact with, I believe that's the back marker, who's come straight back across the track and punted me off the side of the track and road, and I am now mighty frustrated. Seriously guys, if you are ever a back marker and you're seeing this, or sorry, let me start again. If you ever see this and you're getting frustrated with back markers, whenever you become a back marker in a similar situation, please just let the people behind you through. It makes it so much easier for the rest of us. If you are genuinely faster, then fine, carry on, but at least give them the room if they come up alongside you, and if they do try and get past, let them past. Even if you stay right behind them and kind of semi-pressure them or just keep with them, you're going to catch up with the guys in front because they're there, I guess, lapping you for a reason, i.e. they're faster. So, as you can see, there's multiple cars here, left and right hand side of the track, that are recovering from spins. We actually managed to gain a position there. There's another car there rejoining the track as well. Nice little backfire there. And I'm guessing this is all from that back market, basically just not giving people racing room, which is mighty frustrating to see, as you can imagine. So, kind of looking to gain some places somewhere, but getting very close to that Z4. Almost making contact, so I had to back out the throttle ever so slightly there, which compromised my run down into here. Otherwise, if I managed to get alongside him without backing out the throttle, I probably would have been alongside into the braking zone. Again, the car rejoining the track through contact. We're actually very, very close to this Z4 coming through this left-right hander. He's back way out of it. I had to lift off quite heavily there to avoid any sort of contact with him in front of me, and I would have quite liked to have had a run into him down here. And I believe this is the back marker here. You can see he's fairly slow, and the Z4 is kind of having to compensate for that, but hopefully with the Z4's acceleration he should be able to have a good run at him down into the chicane down here. As you can see, he's trying to look for a way past, but that other car's just not giving him racing room. He slipped up the inside. I've gone down the inside now. Actually managed to get past him quite nicely. But of course, he does not give me racing room, even though my car is in front of his. He just goes straight into the side and has now dropped me down a couple of positions. And that is very, very close to making contact with the Z4 just there. Just about managing to avoid him. Probably wouldn't have been able to get away with that in project cars. You'd be on the limits of grip pretty much the entire time. When you're really pushing, just trying to decelerate as much as I did just there and avoid making contact would have been a lot harder. And as you can see, I'm managing to slip up the inside of a couple of guys there on the exit. There's one Z4, where's the other? The other one's in the rearview mirror now. So yeah, I've gained a position, I believe, and also got past that back marker, which is good. That's what I've been aiming to do for the last 3 laps or so, possibly more. Yeah, guys, just please, honestly, if you ever become a back marker in any kind of situation, there's people coming up behind you who are faster than you, please just let them through. It may not be as much fun, but just for the sake of saving people getting horrendously frustrated at you, just let them go. Give them racing room if they get alongside you. So, anyway, back to the race at hand and trying to close this Z4 down. This is a place I know I'll gain time on him. Slightly, maybe. Not really much, as he actually managed to get a pretty decent line and a run through there. A lot better than the other Z4s that I've been following anyway. Didn't seem to back out as much, but as you can see in corners like this, I'm just hooking up the apex is a fair bit nice and managing to carry a bit more speed through the apex as well. But as you can see coming down the straight, he's pulling away. This is kind of where I start to level out and start to close back up again, back at the top end, but there's no real straight that's long enough allowing me to actually capitalise and actually gain in that sense. So it's more about trying to push and trying to get the best run out of every single corner that I possibly can. and avoid dipping my wheels onto the grass and running heavily over the exit curbs. Which is what I did there. It's rather frustrating. And as you can see, he's just pulled away, all because of that as well. So now I've really got my work cut out for me. Managed to nail the braking zone really nicely though down into turn 1. Car sounds absolutely fantastic on the brakes. You can feel and hear the suspension and brakes working quite nicely as well. It does give quite a good sketchy feeling, but it's quite easily manageable too. It's not like the rear end is squirming away behind you and having to fight the wheel to keep it in a straight line. Now this is going to be interesting with a lot of traffic up in front of me here. That's a slow McLaren. That was a bad marker, as I haven't gained a position. That's a slow Z4, who I believe is a position in front of me. Biscuit, that's a name I recognise from earlier. So now I've got a much better chance of gaining a place. I'm trying to get past this guy, so to P4 possibly. If I can get a decent run out of here, which I do not do, as you can see. In fact, that was an absolutely horrendous run coming out through the exit. And yeah, you can really sense the frustration now. Really starting to settle in. Which is a real shame, to be honest, because I've actually been really enjoying this race. I've had some really good battles and some overtakes with various drivers, but it's been the odd one or two who's just kind of ruined it. I wasn't actually too sure if this guy is an actual back marker or whether we are fighting for a position. Either way, I'm just going to let the slipstream come down towards this chicane. And this, as you can see, this is where the car's starting to close the gap back up. He's got way deep though. Got way too late on the brakes. Whereas I managed to make the apex quite nicely. I think the McLaren is slightly better on its brakes. And the Z4, although again, it's horrible understeer coming into the final corner to complete the last lap. So yeah, Assetto Corsa, everyone. Really nice game. I actually really enjoyed it, and I'm kind of looking to do more on my channel. If you agree, please show that in the comments below. And of course, I'll be doing plenty more project cars in the future as well, and hopefully at some point I will be doing a comparison between the two when I get a bit more of a feel for Assetto Corsa, and also obviously project cars, because the game is constantly being updated on a daily by daily basis, and small things are changing and improving here and there. Same with Assetto Corsa, to be honest, because Assetto Corsa is also in alpha or beta, one of the two. It's pre-release basically. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully I shall see you soon. Take care.